Such an interesting point of view. Yes, you are correct. Let's explain. When you are having interaction with others, and when you are consciously aware of others around you, you are intermingling with their energy of who they think they are because they are projecting their energy of themselves out into the reality of where you think you are at any given time. Now, this, when we talk about this, it's very difficult maybe for the human mind, not of yourself, but some others, the dimensional shifts that many of you having. If you think of when you look back at the past of how you've interacted with those or how you see the information of the experience of the history of something that has occurred, trauma, drama, any experience at all. For instance, if we look at some of you now, the festive season has arrived. Many of you may not look forward to enjoying the season or may look forward to it depending on your previous experiences that you've had. Now, each of those experiences are indented into the morphic resonance field. Each of those experiences are there caught up in that time span of what you thought happened at that particular time, and those individual members of family or friends of how you all interacted with each other. But we asked you, is that the real reality? Not necessarily so. It's just what the mind created for the individual person to feel safe or protected or happy or whatever it is that you want to feel at any given time. It shifts and changes, of course, from the perception of the human mind as the human goes through many experiences and then reflects and looks back and then says, well, I wonder if that's exactly what really happened. That's who are conscious aware. Those who are not aware and just live their life as in this happened to me. This was the individual and the relationship that had with me. They have created that in concrete almost as if that will not change for them. They are stuck in that time warp. Again, that is their dimensional shift. That's how they see their reality. But yes, it is an illusion to some degree. And they may take the time when their soul crosses over or when it reaches us that we will then sit with them and then we will help them to process the information. There are many time shifts and dimensional shifts that are occurring on your planet. Many of you who are becoming aware of how you are changing and developing. Again, when you look back at your own lives, there will be those shifts as you will be aware of how you see life now and how you look back at life, how that's changed. You may not never look at it the same ever again. It's almost looking at that globe when you shake it and see the snowman and the snow falling. It falls in different places. There are many changes for many of you. The more that those who wake up and become aware of their energy, and many of you, like yourself, when you said about your heart and the soul awareness within your heart, you have shifted already. You have shifted your timeline as you move forward. There is great changes ahead. Again, you have shifted to one side, whether it's left or right, backwards or forwards, it's irrelevant, but you have shifted. And many of you are shifting on the planet right now, and it's affecting all your dimensions in time and space. That's why many of you are very tired at the moment because you are shifting backwards and forwards in how you see your past and how your future is being created. It has to be the awareness of the self. It has to be awareness that you're living life in a different way. That's how it can move forward. So your consciousness, your awareness of who you are is shifting constantly. How you see others, how they see themselves is also shifting. When you reflect back of how you see those individuals around you, do you really see them as they are? But then we ask you, do you really see yourself in the mirror? You're really never seeing the true reflection of yourself in the mirror. You're only seeing what you feel that you wish to see, depending on where your mind is at. The illusion of self and how you see yourself, not you in particular, but how others will see themselves, is where the mind thinks or feels it's at. There are many of you on your planet who see themselves as in too fat, too thin, and will only pick up on that side of themselves. There will be many of you that see themselves as a successful business person, or the loving mother, or the father, or the best friend. Is it true? It is irrelevant. It is how your soul wishes to live this particular lifetime and what it needs to see or what it wishes to see. There are many times your soul has entered onto the planet not just yourself, but many of you have come backwards and forwards on the planet. It is so that your soul develops and so that you understand enough how you process the information from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. Many of you will keep recycling, 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 recycling. What is the truth? What is the reality? What is the illusion? It is irrelevant. It is what your soul needs to learn at any given time. And yes, how you see an individual in your life and their energy that interacts with yours is all part of your soul process. So are you ever seeing the truth of the individual? Are you ever feeling into the individual's energy? Are they showing up as they wish to be seen? Normally, how they feel about themselves is what you are receiving. If that person does great change upon themselves and sees themselves very differently, as for instance, if someone is not confident and then they change and then they grow that confidence, they will look as if they're 6 foot taller than what they really are. It's how we perceive the world around us. Did that answer at all your question? I don't think you're alone with that thought, because I remember I was thinking that not so long ago and I was like, oh my God. But when I was communicating with them, it's like, I feel that's why they keep saying to us to connect to those like-minded people is to connect with them. It's going to be really important to connect to others who, having this conversation with people like ourselves or anybody that's interested in that soul spiritual development will have a greater understanding that if you went out on the layman down the road, if I started talking to my mother about this, it would be like she thinks I'm mad, a crazy person. But I understand it's just getting our heads around it, and they just laughed and said, not your heads, but do you know what I mean? It's sort of like we have to step out the head energy in a sense. And I think they just said, and just receive it on a soul heart level. That will have understanding. Okay, thank you. I got it. Okay. Then now when they just said soul heart energy level, it feels as if, okay, thank you. They're showing me like there's a larger circuitry out there. So it's like there is an energy frequency within the heart center. By connecting to that, I could think, because people, it's almost like I think it's a bit like iCloud. When we send pictures to iCloud or recordings to iCloud, people have done that where their brain faults and faults sort of. Okay, thinking that makes sense. They just said this earlier to me. And I was like, well, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so brain faults they were talking about. It's a bit like the iCloud, but it's a bit like it becomes like a traffic jam. So you get stuck in a traffic jam. What they're saying to me is it's really the heart energy is really that frequency and that resonance. Okay, thinking it makes sense of the card love again. That once we connect to that from the heart center, it will have a greater understanding. It's like thinking our soul will then have that more of a connection with soul energy. Okay, thank you. And this is the higher self, of course, the higher self, it'll be more understanding, would understand a lot more information. So it's just a process that we're all going through. I think that's what the shape shifting, that shifting dimensional work is happening right now. That we're going to be doing more of that heart center work on ourselves. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.